Hey buddy, Jerome here, founder of Optionality Profit. Have you ever had some of these challenges? You attend expensive programs, seminars, webinars, which promise meaningful outcome, which turn out not to deliver the expected result you wanted. You work hard, you implement the nuts and bolts, and most importantly, you continuously take action upon these nuggets, these big takeaways that were outlined in the program. By the way, this is the topic of today, meaning how to avoid the mistake of using hindsight as foresight. Me too, I went through the same process. I remember quite carefully when I started my new entrepreneurial and investment journey. I read books and books and books and books. They were well narrated, and there were a lot of big takeaway. And I look quite careful. I implement, especially I have a very clinical eyes. I took quite carefully what was outlined as big takeaway, and I put them into action. And guess what? I went broke. Not because I did not know what I was doing. I really did know what I was doing. But because I did not know what I did not know. Now, let me give you the framework of how to think about avoiding going through life looking through the review mirror with the firm conviction of looking straight ahead. In another word, using hindsight as foresight. The first and most important thing you should be doing is the following. Counterfactual any big takeaway you get from any program, books. Why? The world is a school of inquiry. Just because something is written doesn't mean it is absolutely what is going to give you the expected result you want. Why? We live in a fast-paced world today. With the growing complexity of the world, things are changing rapidly. In another word, you heard yesterday, today become irrelevant. That's what I mean by that. Now, and why am I saying that? Because we human, when we look at events, we tend to look at causes that are visible to us, and we forget or we scorn what I call this the cemetery of silent evidence, meaning the things that are not obvious or salient to us, what we do not see or what we do not know, right? And why is that? Because history tends to kill a lot of information, and that were deemed to be more relevant to us at the time. In another, what I'm just trying to say here is that we humans, we favor the visible, the tangible, the well narrated, and we scorn the abstract. Keep in mind, the world today is very, very, very complex. Don't walk out there with the illusion of certainty. No. Let me give you a practical example. Let us assume that there are 50 writers, right? From equal ability, skills, right? And then I am among them also. I have the same skills and ability. Now, you are an aspiring writer or speaker or entrepreneur or investor, just as am I. Now, what you do is, among the 50 writers, you select 3. You read their biographies, you read their work, And now you go ahead, and when you are building your own work, you cite me and you cite the other 2, because out of the 50 you picked 3. Now let us assume a third aspiring writer has arrived and is working the same subject, which to me is the wall of risk, the wall of uncertainty. Now he picked my work, he picked among the 3 my work. Just randomly, he just picked my work, and then he cited me in his work. And then a third person who is working in a similar subject read the work of the second person, pick also my citation in the quote of that person, in the work of that person. What happened? Okay, you see that it is already a series, something that is going on and on. My name is appearing over time in different work, right? What will happen? I'll be published in big journals out there, I'll get recognition. And what will happen with the other 49? They're in the cemetery. And guess what? At the beginning, as I said, we have all the same ability and skills. You see now what I'm trying to say? It's not necessary you have to... It's not that I became highly successful just because I'm very skillful. Skills are necessary, but not sufficient. That's just what I'm trying to say. In another word, my point here is that those who attend programs, webinars, seminars, and have the firm conviction that by doing that they will be more likely to succeed, this is an illusion. Those are preconditions that are necessary for success, but doesn't imply you will succeed. That's just what I'm trying to say. The reason why it turned out that I became very successful is due to the fact that I was lucky. That's it. It's not that I was better than the other 49. No. But we will show you here in Optionality Profit how to generate and capitalize on your own luck. This is key. Now, and this is the reason why my podcast that I started less than 9 months now, last year, we have close to 70,000 downloads, because we just knew. Obviously, we have very good, very good insight in the podcast, but it's not sufficient. We came in contact with a lot of people who were blogging also, and basically they took our stuff and put it to their audience, which overall, in the long time, it increased the number of people who visit our podcast. And be careful, in less than a year, we have close to 70,000 downloads. Right? Okay, isn't that because I'm just extremely intelligent or wise? No. It is, we came in contact with people who have a large list, and most importantly also were interested in our work, since it is vastly also profitable to them, and most importantly to their audience. Now that's one. 2, the second nugget that I would like you, when you go in any program out there, is always to simulate the big takeaway that you get out of the book or the seminar, whatever it is, or even if it is a certification of a training. When you take all your big takeaway, I'll always recommend you to simulate, not to see what will happen, but what may happen, because what will happen implies prediction. And guess what? We live in a world that is extremely very complex, except if you are in a domain that I call mediocrity, meaning a world that is stable and that doesn't change. For example, if you are an employee, or if you are a dentist, or if you are a massage therapist, these type of work, you can scale them. You have to be there to perform. Whereas in extremistan, which is the wall of complexity, things can be scaled very easily. You don't have to be there to perform the task. When it is done, it's there. You just start walking out his own way. Now, in another word, my main point here is that when you have your big takeaway, first and foremost, as I said, number one, counterfactual. That's 1. 2. Now, simulate to see what may happen and not what will happen. In another word, you are going one step at a time. Now, the third big takeaway I would like you to keep wholeheartedly and grip it close to your heart is this. Avoid the question, what is going to change in the next decade, meaning in 10 years, and focus on what is not going to change in the next 10 years. Let me give you a practical example on us. In our 3 online businesses that we are running, that I'm the founder, we know that customers want low price. That's number 1. Number 2, they want vast selection. Number 3, they want fast delivery, whether online or offline. Now, it is impossible to imagine 10 years from now that a customer come to me and say, Jerome, I would love if, let's say, optionality profit made the price a little bit higher, or I would like, Jerome, I would like if optionality profit deliver a little bit slower. I can't see that. These are points that are stable over time. Whether I'm here or not, it will always be like that. Customer will always like low price, vast selection, fast delivery. In another, a good customer service. Indirectly, that's what I'm saying. Now, the key question here is why? The reason here is from the standpoint of an entrepreneur or an investor, you can build a business on things that are stable in time. Why? Because you are not external focused. What I mean by external focus means this. That means when you are external dependent, that means you rely on change. Whatever is going on out there, you rely on competitor. You are no more yourself. In another, you don't control the environment. And guess what? Life is not about getting prediction right. You don't need to know who is the next competitor or the next change, since you can at any point in time in this very, very, very complex world today. In other, you have to build a system, or your strategy has to be a robust strategy that allowed you to be able to withstand the unexpected, and most importantly, even to capitalize on it. Hence, be customer centric, be customer obsessed. Now, that doesn't mean that you should not also know your Achilles tendon or your Achilles heel. No. In another word, you have also to keep your eyes on the competitor and see what they have that can be useful to you, and you take it and you figure out a way how you can turn it into something unique. My point here is to have a clear key mind that can spot a key differentiator into what your competitor have. But your main focus should be on the customer. Because your competitor will never going to give you money anyway, right? You care more about your customer. Your mantra should be customer focus. That's one, and you pay attention to the competitor. Now, my whole point here is those of us who have their mind. What I mean by those of us, that means entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs and investors who have their mind glued to the map will end up mistaking the territory for the map. And the map here is nothing more than a business model or a book or a webinar or a seminar or a session that you took somewhere. And the territory will be the real world, what is really happening there. And since we human, we tend to favor the visible, just to repeat myself as I said before, the visible, the tangible, the well narrated, we are more likely to mistake the random with the non-random than the other way around. In another, we tend to see pattern where there is none than to miss on the pattern. And this is what I'm just trying to bring in your mind, which is something very counterintuitive. Only the best great entrepreneurs and investors notice that and are well aware of it. And lastly, knowing what you don't know allowed you to be captain of your own ship. This is very, very, very true. My point here is how to turn incomplete, how to help people or entrepreneurs make decisions on the incomplete information and incomplete understanding, and how to build a system where mistakes can occur, because this is the price for invention, without threatening the system, but most importantly, use as fuel for improvement. Thank you guys. It was an honor to have you here. And most importantly, please just take all these 3 nuggets and start implementing them right away. Keep in mind, you were born to win. And thank you, and see you in the next 3 days for the next episode. Thank you guys.